Sham Masechta Ma'aseh Yutesem Beis Nishmas Gilta Basagom Shchaim B'Yitzchadodet Shchaim B'Am Yitzchak Hayas Lefu Shleima. The brighter shoe is one line above the wide lines. Yutesem is base. No, I'm sorry. We gotta go back a little bit. No, there's nothing. Mikan Omru. 7-8 lines from the top. Mikan Omru. This din we learn for what's happening, which is the din that the Gemara is referring to. Look to play Moshe. Mikan Omru. The Torah says, the poil is permitted to eat from the food. Yochel hu liktsois hu lahasnois in a balabayis little domen. If you tell me that the poil is allowed to eat, so Dr. Gemara, then he's allowed to exchange the food for money. You know what? Don't give me the food. I don't want to eat today. You give me payment. Just pay me for it. Whatever the food costs, give me the money for the food. Below yochel, I'm not going to eat. V'davke b'shvil atzmoi, u'b'shvil bonav v'avodav v'agdolim v'ishtoi diyesh be'em das v'yodav u'machli. He's allowed to do it and use this instead of eating. And he takes the food for himself, he takes the money for himself, or also he could do it for bonav v'gdolim. There could be moichel the achila. The mashayken the ktanim, they can't be moichel the achila. Means they have a right to eat as well. And they give them moichel, but not the other ones, the ktanim, they can't be moichel. You have to give them the actual food. But this we didn't see yet. There's such a chiyuv that you have to give also to his family. You got to give the children also. What's the pshat in this Gemara? Look at the, let's see the words in the Gemara. So the Gemara, Mikan Omru. Koitzis hu odom aydei atzmai aydei bonov bita hagdolim aydei avdu shvos hagdolim aydei ishu midei sheish b'hem das. They can be moichel and they can say, you know, give us the exchange the food for the money. Have any koitzis leidei benoi bita haktanim leidei avdu shvos haktanim leidei b'hem midei sheish b'hem das. Because they don't have a das mechila. That's the pshat in the Pnei Moshe. Look a little bit in the Pnei Moshe. Aval any koitzis mipnei sheim b'hem das. These are the young children and the behemoth and so on. Who poil midas achsele hatoyu who oichel. Less luminayu zchile b'achilas. He wants to exchange it for the money. He can do it so. Let them not fool it. Let's see. Mikan Omru, the second line from the top on the Mikan Omru. Hoyu mitzinu shatoyu zachsele poil. We see that the Torah was mezaka for the poil that he could eat. Omru she'ekoytzai de atzmoi little moyes. Instead of the food, he takes the money. V'yochel mishum shehu yoda u'mochel. He's mochel the food. Avalei de aktanim she'en the cotton schus elek shenoisen etoich piv. The cotton doesn't have any das. Elek shenoisen etoich piv v'oz he efshel loy limchol. He gets it. You give it to him to eat, but he can't be mochel. Look at Rashi. Koitzis Adam on the right side, Mikan Omru, 6-7 lines from the bottom. Mikan Omru, Areshu Koi, Dein Adam B'loi Sachsim. A person doesn't have the issue of B'loi Sachsim. You don't let him eat, you're not even allowed. So from there we see Dr. Rashi, Koitzis Adam Aydei Atzmai, Little Moyes B'loi Yochel. He could exchange the food that the Balbais is mechuyev to give him. Instead of the food, he gives him money. Aydei atzmai, b'shvil atzmai, the food that he eats himself. Avdu shechos hagdolim, avloi katan b'ksavim mishel shemayim hu oivel. Oh, now this is the first time that the Gemara here, not the Gemara, but the Mefarshim, are now circling back this phrase mishel shemayim hu oivel. This is the Chanaboy in the Gemara b'Metzia daf tzadik beis amid aleph. So he's saying here, the Kesava, where's the Kesava here? Who's the Kesava? Of the Mishnah, right? What does it mean, the Mishnah? The Mishnah holds that this is one of the eyes in the Gemara Bava Metzia, Mishal Shemayim U'oichel, that the poil, when he eats, is eating from Shemayim, or is eating Mishaloi U'oichel, Mishalayim U'oichel. What's the nafkamina? Hilkuch Leslie the Merayu Zechia Be'achilosam. It's not coming from the Balabayas, it's coming from the Shemayim. The Shemayim is saying that you have to give the poil the ability to eat. Azoi b'sido matnas kuhuna. The Fashidna, there's Trumas, Maises, Maisani, Maisasheni. So when you have to give those things, not yours. The Torah is mezaka you those things. When the Kohen takes the Maises, the Trumas and Maises, he's taking from the Balabayas? No. He's taking Mishamayim Kazochlu. So that's what he's saying here. The poil, they're not taking it from the Balabayas. He's taking Mishamayim. So the Balabayas has no schia in the achila with the poil is eating. The fila shelhem einoi ad shitnu lefiyam. In other words, they're not zoichin it until they actually put it into the mouth. Then they're zoichin it. So what does he want to say with this? He says here that a bon mishamayim you have it because you have mishamayim. So therefore, what? The shemayim, the ketanim are not included. What's included only? Only the gedolim. I don't know. Balzen. I don't know. This is hard to understand what he's saying. That this din, that the ketanim are not. What?
If it's like chesed, it's only chesed to the worker.
Yeah, but he's not going on it. He's not going on that. He's going l'chayra on this din that we say the ketanim, the gedolim they could eat. The ketanim they can't. They can't be meichel, right? He has to be meichel. He's not saying why the kids are allowed to eat. The Gemara is focusing on the fact that the kids could eat. They could also be meichel and say, "Give me money instead of the food." The ketanim can't do it. So the ketanim you have to give money, the food, manner, and the gedolim you can give me money because they could be meichel and they make an exchange. You know why? Because we hold mishamayim hu oichel. What's that got to do with it? Okay, Balzen a minute. But sheyesh behem das, biyodi b'kamachli, and they can be meichel. Avalei they behem to mishum lab dechasima. When you have a behemoth, so you have to let the behemoth eat, and there's a lab in the Torah like sach shusha b'dishay. That who atzmai b'dishay shaloi ain't rishoy lechasma. Even belongs to him, not the poil. Talking about the behemoth of the poil. And here the Gemara is making an assumption that you have to give it to the children of the poil and also to the behemoth of the poil. But they can't exchange it for money. Sheim behem das abnoi ubita ktanim v'abdu shuchosei aknanim. There you can't make any exchanges. You have to give them the food and not the money because they can't be moichel. Well, like the going of them. Like we see the going here on the right side first. On the left side. On the left side, it says like this: "Mipnei sheim behem das v'havi dumi d'shoy." The shtok and das they can't be moichel. Tzricha masnis nikoi meinoch l'dvar toire l'mach v'stenai have a kemekach b'toivel. Okay, so let's see this Gemara weiter. So before we go back to the boys, I just want to read to you the Gemara. We're just discussing with Yonis here before, the Gemara in Tzaddik Beizam and Aleph. I mean, it's very interesting Gemara. Yiboyiluhu. It's about Mitzia in the middle of the Yom. Poil moishuloyu oichel mishal shemayim oichel. Is the poil who works? The Torah is mezakem, he's allowed to eat. Does he get it mishamayim or is mishaloi? What's the nafkamina? The my nafkamina. The Oma Tnu liishti ubonai. He said, "Give it to my children." So when we have the Gemara here, the Gemara before says Tnu liishti ubonai. The Gemara just says before. Let's go back. Talmud loyim l'sal shabbat dishay. Mekan amu koitzisu adam. This is the Shami. I'm switching back and forth. Mekan amu koitzisu adam. Aydei atzmai aydei benoi ubita agdolim. What does it mean koitzisu? Koitzisu means that he gives it to them. He says, "You know what? Don't give it to me. Give it to them to eat." So here the Gemara doesn't say if you could do this or not. It's toilet in the shaila here in the Gemara. The Gemara is here is toilet in the shaila. If you say Mishal Asmayu Oichel or Mishal Shemayim Oichel. If you say Mishal Asmayu Oichel, Zok the Gemara, Iyamid Mishal Shemayim Asmayu Oichel Yavinalei. He has the right, it's his, he can give it to the kids. If he wants, he says, don't give it to me, give it to the children. But if I learn that this is that the poil is not eat, I said, he's getting a Mishamayim, here the Gemara does not say that it's started in this question or not. The Gemara just says, the Gemara makes it for an assumption that you could give it to the children. No, but then it has to be, if you want to exchange it for money, then it's still you have to ask or not. But the Etzem Shaila, if you give it to the children or not, the Yishalmi doesn't make an afkamin if it's Mishaloi Mishalas. There's two questions. Number one, how come the Yishalmi is not told this Mishaloi Mishalas? What does the Yishalmi hold? The Yishalmi holds the what? That it's Mishaloi, and that's why Mishaloi you can give it to the kids. If it would be Mishal Shemayim, then you can't give it because it's Trumas Amaisis. Trumas Amaisis, it comes from Mishamayim. Shemayim Kazachal. It's a Dafka present. You got a present for the Brother Shalom. You're not letting you give it to somebody else. That's a momentous they did. Just I want to read to you also here the Rashi here in Bavitziah. How Rashi teaches this question. Mishaloi Uoichel, Zok Rashi, that's Rashi, Loshan Rashi, Toy Sefer Scharhu, Shoisifu Loi Torah. If I learn Mishaloi Uoichel, is a momentous dikadin that the Torah said because of the schar that you're getting from the Baal Bayis is linked in this employment agreement that he has to give you food also. The food is included in the employment agreement. Thus, it says your money. So if your money, you can do whatever you want. You want to give it to the children, give it to the children. But who else gets it in? Santa Rashi, Michel Shemayim, how you learn Poshup Shabbat? Poshup, there's a matnas kuhunas, a matnas aniyim. Das ist doch Matonis, der Ebrisch hat gegeben für Kahanim, für Aniyim, verschiedene Sachen. Und dort gegeben für die Poyalim, der geben Schar für die Poyalim. Rashi, Matonis gemilas Chasodim, Geschah matnas aniyim. Was darf Rashi einlegen the gemilas Chasodim? What they got to do with this? I mean, it's a mitzvah the rice in the Torah. Madam gave him for the Poyal, and I gave him the Poyal. The Achille, they should be able to eat b'shas avodah. What's that Rashi talking about? That's gemilas chasodim, and then Rashi says, "Gemilas chasodim is fazich mitzvah for gemilas chasodim." And then Rashi puts in here kisham matnas aniyim. What says kisham matnas aniyim? As if you're under the matanas aniyim, in this matanas from the poel. The poel is not necessarily an oni. The poel could be richer than the balabais. Just because he's a worker doesn't mean he's an oni. What's the Rashi do with Zugen that is matnas aniyim?
What do you mean the gidder? The gidder, it's a gidder from matnas aniyim. That's the Pshat Mishal Shemayim. It's a gidder from matnas aniyim.
What does that mean? In Yeshiva Bayon, the Yeshiva never used the word gather. I know it's a Yeshivish word. I'm just telling you. Just look at the Agabucha. So every time I hear it now later, as I'm growing up, I'm hearing about this word gather. I never understood it because he never used it. So it's kind of Ganistan, but today it's part of the yeshivish language, So I don't know exactly what you mean by it, but what's after the Sasha? Look, this is the same problem. The second problem is how come the Gemara here is not saying this, or is the Gemara assuming that it's Mishaloi? That's what you have to say, because if we Mishal Shemayim, then the Gemara can't say you can't give b'chal to the children. Just what was? Yeah. The Torah was only mizakeh to you, not to anybody else. So the whole blood Gemara is on this. But just want to read to you the Rambam in Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Halacha Yud Gimel, Peik Yud Beis, Halacha Yud Gimel. This is the Chiyus. The Rambam Azay is a very interesting Rambam here. The Rambam writes like this: Poyel she'oma, he's teaching our Gemara. So that's the Gemara Azay. Poyel she'oma, tnu li'ishti ubonai ma sha'ani yoichel. Right? So the Gemara here, what has the Gemara read it? Koitzitzu, odom ha'idei atzma ha'idei b'nai bita ha'gdoilem, koitzitzu. Koitzitzu. He wants to give it. The Gemara is not so explicit here, what it says here. The Gemara in Bab Metzia says, what is he giving to Ishti Yibonai? What's get to Ishti Yibonai? So the Rambam is saying, you know what we're talking about? There's two different cases here. One case is like the Rambam, what I'm supposed to eat, give it to the children. I'll take off from what I took. Why what I took? Because we saw the other day that the Rambam writes in the beginning of this parak that there's no dinner in the Sina. The balabais allows the oni, not the oni, the poil to come and take from the food. So he's continuing that concept. Mizeshen and talti was ich genommen, gebes for the ishti bonai. Ein shoymim loy, shlo izachs teile el poil asmi. Now in Paskin mishel shemayim. This belongs to the shemayim. So if he says, give from what I ate, you can't, because this belongs to me, and the Torah gave it to me, and you have no right to give it to somebody else. So it's Medina Momnus, it's not yours. It's only Medina Yisurim. The Torah says the Poil is Lari. But the Poil has no bias on this. He can't be Mekad Jirishu with it. That's Garnish. So that's why he passes over here. Then he says here, it's not the Zach. I feel a Nozer, show you Oise Banov. Let's say a Nozer is a worker in a vineyard, and he's not allowed to eat. So what happens with the Novim? And he says, even though he can't eat, he's an isati. Listen about this main tafilu over here. Okay. Next halacha is Yudalid. What's the chiluk in this? Here he says, here, everybody's working. He's working, and the whole family's working. His name Balabayas, Shem Oisim. He made it tonight with the Balabayas. He said, well, we're not going to eat. He said, we're not going to eat. So what then? He wants the money. Give me the money. Don't we're not eating. So he says over here, you can't make such a tonight. Excuse me?
The Torah says so.
Torah says so. And if you want to make it tonight, we're not going to eat, and we want to do something else with the food, so you can't do it. But if the kids are gedolim, then you could do it. You can make such a tonight. Why? Because they're gedolim. They can be meichel. So you see that here the Rambam is saying that if they're working, that it belongs to them, and they have a right to give it away and do something else. If they have das. If they're katanim, you can't make such a knife for them because they can be meichel, even though he's the father. So you have to know how this Rambam is stimming, because in Lochid Gimel it's mashma ain't shoymim loy because mishamayim kazachu. Here we're talking about in the Lochid Yudalit. It looks like mishaloyu zaycha that he could do it. You have to understand how this Lochid Gimel Yudalit how it adds up together. I'm not exactly sure, but just wanted to point out here that you see that this is sugya in Bab Metzia and the sugya bayos is a chayet. It's two different sugyas. And Agamar is assuming automatically. I would say that mishal atzmayu oichel. And that's why he's permitted to go ahead and make it tonight with the balabais. We're not going to eat. I want you to give it to somebody else. So the Gemara says, okay, you can do it. But if the kids are ketanim, then you can't do it because they ain't das. Zog the Gemara weiter. What does it mean? Again, this sentence has come out without the mafashim. You know what it means. Going back on the Mishnah. The fact that he's oichel min ha-Torah, he's allowed to eat. The Torah was mezaket to him. He's allowed to eat the peres. If he's allowed to eat the peres min ha-Torah, then he should be mechuyev to take off the ma'aser. What does one have to do with the other one? So take a look at the Bnei Moshe. Look at the Bnei Moshe. Amasnisin koi mahada. He's going back on the Mishnah. What's that in the Mishnah? Oichel min ha-Torah potter. Said in the Mishnah that these poyalim, they're potter from the ma'aser. Why the potter from the ma'aser? They should be mechuyev ma'aser. Why? Why they mechuyev ma'aser? There's no reason pnei abayis. The mekivan shtachilosem min ha-Torah, because the Torah said they're allowed to eat. Have a kviyas l'ma'aser. So the fact that the Torah said that the poil is allowed to eat, so that becomes a double choshev. If it's a double choshev, the mele is kviyas l'ma'aser as if it's read pnei abayis. So just like we saw the 6 things, akavei l'ma'aser. So now the Gemara is saying here, in the Kasha of the Gemara is saying is that the fact that he's allowed to eat, that should be kaveh for mice also. Again, I'm not sure this is the Raisa, the Rabbanan, all the Mepharshim come out learn here that this Kasha of the Gemara is a Rabbanan, doesn't make it into a Raisa. But look at the next words in the Gemara. Amr Rabbi Yoina HaTorah Poiter Oisam. The Torah says you put it. I mean, the Torah says you put it. The law use look at Pnei Moshe. In the wide lines of the fish. Torah is the Torah is the one that tells you you're allowed to eat. Again, almost like a reference back to Mishal Shemaim, who's also. Who Potter Oisam in Amaisa. And the Torah was patting for Maisa. Where's the Torah patting for Maisa? There's no reason for bias. It's not a kavias for Maisa. It's hard to understand if we're dealing with the Rabbanans. 2 times in the same line, the Gemara is using the word Atayra. So there's discussion. Why is the Gemara using the word of Atayra Potter? I say when we're dealing wholly here with the Rabbanon, because there was no Gemara Avodah. It wasn't Nigma yet. These payers. The only question the Gemara was using it. The Gemara wants to say if he says Amanas, so the word Amanas makes it into a Mekach. He's moisiv on the Torah. The Torah is mizaket to you, but that doesn't make it that it's a mekach. When you say amanas, you put into the deployment agreement, that makes it into a choshen mishpat dividend that you have to give them the food out the choshen mishpat. So there the Gemara says that you still put, even you use the word amanas. But here the Gemara is going before that. The Gemara wants to know if the Torah is mizake you, that you're allowed to eat the peiros, that should make a kviyas for ma'aseh. And he's saying, so he says, that should be chayiv min Torah. It's as if kamat, it rises to the level of riyas b'nei abayis, and it should be achila midiraisa, not achila midirabonon. And of that, Rabbi Yoina says, HaTorah potter oisa. Torah says that you potter, and you're not chayiv because it's not one of the things that the Torah says that it has to do with riyas b'nei abayis. So it's a shakla b'tayim in the Gemara back and forth. This is the raisa or the rabbonon. The din is only the rabbanon. As I push up shot, the din is the rabbanon. Yeah. So they say it's a smachta, whatever it is, but al kapanim the Gemara is using the words min haTorah. Let's just see the mafashim here. 1 second. Let's see ha'oichem min haTorah. Look the mnafulda. Dil ma'af ha'oichem min haTorah chayiv b'maisa. It should be b'chuyiv. Again, he doesn't use the word als mekach. He uses it because the Torah gave maschus that the poil is allowed to eat it. So that is a kaviz de kachila. It's a choshen de kachila. Why? It's a chila min haTorah. So that's a kaviz. HaTorah pot. So the B'yoni no HaTorah pot always say. Oh, so now he says like this. Chabav dash in a posik makes it not shver at the kash. Look at the drash. Said in the posik. Let's look at the posik. He saw became riyacha b'chalta anom kinafshecha sevecha. That kinafshecha sevecha. The kinafshecha. So dash in the Gemara. Ma balabayis. Look in the Menafulda. Ma balabayis potter. Why the balabayis potter? Shaloi nigru malachta. This whole Gemara is talking about that the potter is eating in the middle of the work, in the middle of the job, and it's loy nigru malachta. Af poil. Just like the balabayis is potter, because loy nigru malachta. Af poil. Af apisha oichel b'schoroi. Even though he's eating is something that what? There should be a mekach, but because of the schar, it's monetary. It's choshen mishpat. Then he throws in the word mekach. It's not a mekach. It's mishamayim kosachaloi. And then it's potter because there's no reason to be mechayim. It's b'em samalocha. Kenafshri learn out from a person. So again, you see episode over here. The Gemara is dealing over here and come out in the rice. Zuk the rash. Zuk the rash. Lo tzricha. Oichem min haTorah lo yechayv. Kloimer haMishnah hazu in the Mishnah. Lehutzich l'tam ha'mayu poter. Afilu de'asni domer amanas. Even though the Mishnah says he used the word amanas, and amanas is a condition which is a monetary condition. But even the asni, and he said the word amanas. Not only am I eating min haTorah, I'm eating also because I put into the employment agreement that you're mechuyev to give it to me. So I made that tonight. Even the asni domer l'mekach. But my potter, that's how he learns shot in the kash of the Gemara. The Gemara is saying, and now we understand why the Mishnah uses dafka al tonight. If you wouldn't use al tonight, there wouldn't be maybe takis not. It wouldn't be any reason to say that you chayiv is a feyah potter because of emsa malacha. The fact that you could eat, who said that's mechayiv you? That's what the other unfortunately. Pnei Moshe Merafula said the kash of the Gemara is not because al tonight. The kash of the Gemara is the fact that you have a suda which the Torah says you're allowed to eat. That's enough to make it a kriyas ma'aser. The Rashi really is not happy with that. And he says, no, but the Mishnah states that we made it tonight. And because you make it tonight, Freit the Gemara, the tonight should have the same power as a Mekach, and it should be Mechayim with the Rabbanon. And for the Gemara, no, Torah Potter Oisai. Zichseloi Kibal HaKarka, when does the Balabais have a din that he's not to eat? Mikinafshecha. He's getting it from the word Minafshecha, Stam, just like the Balabais is not to eat, Kinafshecha. And Nafshecha means not more than the Balabais. The Balabais is not Mechuyev in Ma'aser here because Memsa Malacha. So within Hochinami, he's not Mechuyev because Memsa Malacha. He's not Memsa Malacha, so he's not Mechuyev. Take a look at the going here, minute by side. Ima Khan, on the left side, in the Ksav Yad base, Aleph. Ab Odom Yei Oive B'loi Sasiv Yei Atanai Botel Im Hisne Shloilecha. If it was talking about the loisase, if a kelyiche put into his bag, be at the nine bottle in hisne shloilach. He made it tonight. He's not going to eat. He wants the money. So the Gemara let him say that what you should be over on that side. You can't make it tonight against the Torah. The Torah says if you're not eating, you can't make a condition that you're not going to eat. You take the money instead. But the Gemara depends. The nation ain't been down to have you doing the show. Let's see if it's listening. So it's going on the Mishnah. If he's not eating Dvar Torah, Ela Machmas tonight. He made a condition. The fact that he's eating Minat Torah, that alone, the Torah gave it him to eat, that's not Kaveh for Maisa. And Mishani, the Mukhal Kamon, Mikanafshika. Ma Ato Eichel Potter. Avnafshi Shupoil, Eichel Potter, the Chiv HaTorah, Kiveya Kemeka. The Chiv the Torah is given to eat, that's not Kiveya al Tzmeka. But you see that the Gemara is touching over here that this should be a Kaviyas, and this should ride to a Kaviyas almost as if it would be a Deraisa. That's what the Gemara is dealing with over here. If you look here in the notes, which note? The notes from Art Scroll. Let's see. He talks about this, but Akaponim, I don't know which one it was, but Akaponim, Kanida Lee, that, which one? Number 10. Sure, yeah, I'm a food to be a girl. There's your fashion, Shikibi, Shizak, Salayatoy, Lacham, Shat, Lacham, Neshik, Vis, Mice, and the Mecca. Okay, that's the question, but he talks about also why the Maz here is indicating that there would be a deraisa. And we're talking only about the Rabbanon. We came to the deraisa and the Rabbanon. The Torah says there are certain things that the Torah is mezakim to eat it. That is, and look, kviz godom is that. The Torah says that the Torah could eat it, nobody else could take it away from him. That's the kaveh in the Ma'aser, that is kaveh for Ma'aser, and that should be mechuy min ha-Torah, he should be allowed to eat. And for the Gemara, the Torah potter oiseh. What's the Torah potter oiseh? Torah didn't say you're chayv on this. It's not Riyas Bnei Abayis. So your svara of Kriyas Bnei Abayis, because it's a Kriyas, that's not enough, because the Torah says that you put here, and the only thing the Torah is telling you to do over here, you're allowed to eat it, and you was ma'abawir from Kanafshecha. Ibad says Kanafshecha, it's a hekesh. You learn now, just like the Balabais doesn't have to give Ma'aser, because it's B'emsa Avodah, who adin nami, the poil who's eating it, even though it's B'emsa Avodah, there's a heter to tell me that it's potter, but if not for this heter of Kanafshecha, even though it's B'emsa Malacha, I would say that's chayiv. Why? It's a kviz min ha-Torah. A kviz min ha-Torah is mechayiv b'ma'aser. The Torah says you could eat it, and the Torah gave it to you, or the Mishamayim Kosachalu, Mishalatz or whatever it is, but it's a pasuk in the Torah that you're allowed to eat it. So even though Taka is not Nigma Menachtoy, would be a half minute in the Gemara to say that it's Taka chayiv Ocher. That's what we read. Okay, I get into it by say. That's good.
But what happens when the Chachamim give it? That there's no favor Ma'aser?
No, not. Only it can't be more than the Chacham. It can only be a Rabban. It can't be a Deraisa. But here, the Torah is giving it to you, right? So not for the fact that you have Kanafshecha that tells me that you're not Mechuyev b'Ma'aser, you're not more than the Balabais, would be Takachai b'Ma'aser Mederaisa. But Nafshecha is telling me there's a meal, and that's how it's Nismai.
The footnotes 12 from Art School.
Yeah.
They say it's as smart.
Yeah. Who's the biggest you saw?
That's just the same food they give you.
Dort. Yeah. Should forget. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fine.